I was at a function yesterday, and I did not realize it, but the group I was talking to started mentioning how much a cup of coffee costs. Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and then a couple other places. It's up to $3 with some places, and I'm just thinking $3 for a cup of coffee. I had to throw in my interjection that when back in the 90s when I started my practice at Central DuPage Hospital, and going in every day, I stopped by a McDonald's, ordered a large cup of coffee that was that big of whatever brand they have. I doused it with 10 packs of sugar, and then I had something else to eat that was really lousy. But I did that for a while, thinking that it made it worthwhile because of how tired I was the night before. And sometimes I'd have to have a beer the night before to get me to sleep, but then I'd need coffee in the morning to wake me up. And this chemical dependency of keeping to as little sleep as possible, I think, is a slippery slope, or a problem waiting to happen. Coffee tastes good. Coffee smells good. The bitter in a coffee bean, especially when you pulverize it and send it through a machine like this, is refreshing. And this is a standard office coffee machine that brews 2 pots of coffee for everybody in the office. Usually these things are brewing all day long, from 9 to 5, even into 6 to 7 p.m. sometimes. And I do not agree with using caffeine of this strength. And even decaf coffee has caffeine in it. It's very hard to get the caffeine out of the coffee bean, especially when you've pulverized it. So again, going back to the sleep deprivation that's found in America, there's ways to beat having a good night's sleep. And there are medicines that are sometimes being used by sleep disorder doctors to help with people get through the day, if they have pathologic sleep abnormalities. But I'm seeing some patients come in without any sleep abnormalities, just being given prescription medicines to wake them up in the daytime. And then they add a couple of these things, and maybe a espresso here and there you go, there's your day. But by the time the evening time comes, you'll still have the effects of caffeine in you. So I don't like coffee for that reason. In the short term it's okay, but in the long run it's bad. And that brings me to my next point. I see a lot of people with reflux esophagitis, ulcers, gastritis, or just problem with tasting food as they eat it in a hurry. And reflux has definitely been associated with the use of coffee. Also associated with poor eating, high stress, and a couple of other things, blood typing and inherited disorder. But this is something that can be controlled. The blood typing and the inherited disorder cannot be controlled. So because of those two problems, America getting by on very little sleep, in addition to the profound amount of medicines being used to calm down reflux symptoms, like Prevacid, Prilosec, Protonix, Axid, Nexium, and then Tagamet, Pepcid, and Zantac, they're still being prescribed left and right, and they're being purchased over the counter for people that have reflux, when in actuality, if you stop taking in tomato, stop taking in chocolate, ease up on peppermint, eat properly, and get off caffeine and or coffee bean, it might be turned around 100% instead of having you rely on a medicine. So a couple of reasons to stay away from coffee. It is a bitter, and in America there's not enough use of bitters or greens. In fact, standard American diet is lacking on greens, so this might be a good substitute to get the digestive system moving, but it's got its side effects. So that's where this comes in. Get rid of this. Introduce tea. Tea, this is Tazo. You can find this at Starbucks. It comes in the typical tea bag that you place in your boiling cup of water. And Tazo is good. Tea bags by themselves are good. This is the standard Lipton tea that you might find in an office like this for people who don't want coffee. And personally, if I have no choice and I have to use bags that you hang in coffee, I'd probably order a few of these. I think if you open this up and you look at the loose leaf contents of the tea, this is black tea in Lipton tea. I don't personally like black tea, I like green tea. And in most randomized controlled trials, green tea has the highest antioxidant. That's when you can go for the specialty tea in Tivana. That's if you have a ton of money to spend, not always available for me. Or you find other places that are a little cheaper than the specialty stores. Adagio Teas in Naperville is great. They sell it at a discount with vacuum sealed loose leaf tea. And loose leaf is exactly what that means, loose leaf. So you have the leaf come out. This one happens to have roasted rice in addition to it. Gives a nice aroma in the morning. And also a nice taste of the green leaf from the plant that's harvested. And this is loose leaf, so there is also some mild caffeine in tea, even the decaf tea, just like the decaf coffee. But the cool thing about loose leaf tea is that if you're worried about caffeine or overly sensitive with palpitations, headaches, or anxiety, you can still take advantage of tea. You brew it one time, get rid of the first brew, put it back in your strainer, and brew it again. Caffeine is a loosely bound molecule, so usually you'll wash most of it away with your first brew. The phytonutrients that you'll find in green tea, specifically EGCG, a big cancer fighter in addition to an antioxidant, will usually be held onto by the plant until the third or fourth round of brewing. Most tea leaves, loose leaf teas, you can brew several times. Then you can also order online, but you are a prisoner to wherever your online companies are getting it from. If you can find a good online company, great, stick with them, but you always have to be asking where they get and how fresh their suppliers are giving them their teas. The use of teas, it does give you a sense, if you're trying to switch over from coffee to tea, having the hot, the flavor, the slow sipping will give you the effect of tea. There's actually some teas, if you go to Tivana, some teas that are made and brewed to smell like coffee, just for those folks who are really looking for the bitters of coffee. But if you try to switch over, I would suggest either getting the guidance from a doctor that's used to helping with suggestions on coaching and sustainable lifestyle changes, or asking a tea specialist about how do you switch over. Bottom line is that in moderation this is okay. There have been good studies with both tea users and coffee about decreased breast cancer, increased antioxidants, decrease on brain cancer and strokes. But again, I have not come across any side effects with regards to green tea, and there are many side effects that are being kind of band-aided with coffee use in the United States. Plus it's getting expensive, so those of you who say that Tivana or no Tivana is being expensive, $3 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks daily can amount to about the same price if you think about it. So, as I was filming this tutorial on coffee versus tea, I used my Tazo tin from Starbucks as I was talking, and I just realized I only had a couple of bags of tea left. One of them was a typical Tazo tea, spearmint flavored. I usually need 2 or 3 of these things in a cup of boiling water. But the other 2 were from my one of the fellows at the Arizona Center for Integrative Medicine, Andy Weil's fellowship program. These are turmeric tea. So actually they take the turmeric root, grind it down and put it in the tea bag, thus the orange color to the tea. But it is a fantastic anti-inflammatory. Unfortunately, the only place you can find this stuff is in Japan, in tea form. It has a great taste to it, has the anti-inflammatory effect of turmeric. And if you haven't, if you don't know about that, you should probably look at my video on turmeric for anti-inflammatory properties. I'll put a link to it. But it's a great taste, very soothing. Again, one of the great benefits, as most of my coffee drinkers are aware of, is the slowing down effect. You have to slow down to not get burned from the coffee or the tea. You have to slow down in sipping it, getting the aroma. It's almost like a ritual of starting your day. The only problem, again, with the coffee is that there's a whole bunch of side effects loaded with coffee, and it's a very behaviorally addictive drug, the coffee bean when it's powdered up. Whereas tea, low likelihood of side effects because it's in a whole tea leaf, and high beneficial effects, again with EGCG. antioxidant, great studies showing decreased brain tumor response, decreased stroke rate, all the benefits of lowering cholesterol. So